Hi guys, Jackknifed here. We've all seen analog horror at this point. Creepy noises, static, debatably scary face, etc. But recently, I've been listening to shortwave radio, and sometimes it's like experiencing that kind of blurry, unknown fear for yourself. I don't mean listening to the radio in your car or whatever, I mean selecting a channel, shortening the band, tuning to a frequency and trying to make out a sound in the static. You can hear some really odd things on shortwave radio sometimes, and I'd like to explain some of these strange incidents that I've listened to. The endless buzzing of white noise permeates everything. When you tune the radio, the humming begins to shift and distort, almost like something out of FNAF. When you finally tune into a radio station, the voices are barely audible most of the time, and sometimes you question whether you've heard something at all. Sometimes you can find real radio stations, other times you're listening to a broadcast from God knows where. Every blip of distortion seems like it might be part of a code. Every noise-stopped voice calling into the void could be a warning of something sinister. I have generally encountered some very strange broadcasts while listening to the airwaves. There are lots of these beeping channels, we'll call them, that just produce random noise. I don't know if it was like a machine producing it or I don't know. Here's one that just seemed to play the Russian national anthem on a loop. I even managed to listen into like a navy vessel or something. I couldn't make anything out though, probably encoded. Here I encountered a situation straight out of Fallout 4. Tell me this isn't Diamond City Radio. By far the strangest channel is frequency 4625 kHz, the buzzer. It's a Russian station that, only after sunset, broadcasts buzzing at regular intervals. Nothing but buzzing. People have theories, mostly that it's a numbers station, something used to transmit codes during the Cold War and World War II. They would play a bit of music, and then a code. Probably some of the most famous include the Swedish Rhapsody and Lincolnshire Poacher. The buzzer, or by its actual code name UVB76, has been broadcasting non-stop since the 1970s, and each time somebody finds its location, it switches to a new one. One time I listened to it, and this was before I was making a video essay, so I didn't record it properly, but the buzzing stopped and was replaced by a song. I don't know what song it was, sounded kind of modern, and then there was like a code broadcast. I couldn't really make it out, it was pretty fuzzy, and then a face was printed out on the spectrogram. I'm serious. I actually thought that we were all going to be nuked when that happened. The whole experience of using shortwave radio is like being on a tiny boat in a dark, immense ocean. The only way to make sense of it is to peer into the abyss and make out familiar shapes in the darkness. Your sonar might be picking up a fellow fishing vessel approaching you, or you might be hearing the haunting song of a siren without even knowing it. When you change channels or tune into some strange column of distortion, you can hear the cacophony of beeps and scrambled voices as if someone's screaming on the other end. Not all channels are marked, especially the licensed amateur section, so it's hard to tell if your mind's playing tricks on you or if you can actually make out a conversation. The spectrogram itself can be pretty unsettling too. I've seen pirates hijack a radio station in real time, playing sounds at a specific frequency to print images and words that come out on the waterfall display. All in all, shortwave radio is really interesting. It's a technology I barely understand, but within that idea of not knowing, there's a fun to it. Straining your ears and flipping through channels to try and listen for a message, if only for a few seconds. Something that perhaps no one else is listening to. Something that perhaps no one else will listen to. I do wonder what it was like to have all media transplanted through this shaky, unreliable format at some time. It's very harsh in that sense. People can basically broadcast whatever they want. There's no real filter, and it's not like they're going to be demonetized for it. And top secret information is obviously still broadcast through the radio as a medium. As previously mentioned, I've listened into ships communicating with each other. There's a high chance that UVB is some Cold War experiment that was never discontinued. I've tried to decode messages from Morse code on here myself, but I'd probably need an encryption key or something. Just imagine if that endless buzzing was the perfect frequency to drive someone insane. It's a freaky thought. That's why I started this video talking about analog horror. It stems from the same kind of old school paranoia. Did you see a face in the TV, or was it an artifact from the poorly copied VHS you're watching? Can you hear a voice in the static, or did you just tune your radio wrong? There's no transcripts, no text-to-speech, no captions or assisted viewing modes of any kind. In that sense, there's no way to confirm if you can hear something, or if the paranoia is getting to you. I should specify, I'm not afraid of shortwave radio in that sense. I legitimately love using it, trying to listen out for codes and messages and that sort of thing. And there are still bits I don't get, but it's those uncharted corners of the internet that I live for. Hold on, you still here? Can you please watch Cut Stuck Mayhem Day of Chaos? You know I made a film, right? Like, an hour-long feature film. It literally took me all year. Please watch it, man. Man. Please. Please.